What I'm about to present to you is a wild, wild story. And it's all about one particular spirit, the spirit that we would know of as Odin. I know many people aren't familiar with Odin and who he is. He is the chief wandering god, the one-eyed god of the Norse pantheon. For those that know, I work with runes. He is the god that sacrificed himself so that we could find and be delivered the magic and the wonder of the runes. This time of year, the time of December, the winter solstice, there is a correlation between the legend and the spirit of Odin and Santa Claus. Some of you may be familiar with this, some of you may not be. But the legend of Santa Claus, being the jolly old elf, being the rotund man in red, that is pretty brand new to us. We didn't really have that image of Santa Claus until the poem "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," and I think that was published in 1823. Prior to that, Santa Claus, St. Nicholas, he was a gaunt, skinny old man with a beard and a pointed hat, and he very much looked like Odin or Gandalf. Think of Gandalf from Lord of the Rings. That character was inspired by the legend of Odin. Now, Odin, being the wandering god of Northern Europe, there's a lot of correlation between him, his eight-legged horse that he rode on to travel the worlds, and the 8 reindeer. There's a lot of correlations there. I want to share with you a story of how I believe the spirit of Odin, the spirit of Santa Claus, presented himself to me. And this just barely happened to me. So remember, this is a story. This happened to me. And this is something that I don't expect anybody to believe, right? Even though I had people there that were experiencing it with me. So let me set the stage for you. This was about a week or so ago, and my husband Isaac was teaching an incense making course at our store. I believe it was a Friday night. We were down to one vehicle. The other vehicle that we have was getting its snow tires changed over, so we were down to one vehicle. Store closed at about 5 o'clock. Class, I think, started about 5:30. Isaac expected the course to be all over around 8:30 or so. So I had a window of time that evening where I had nothing to do. I was going to go get something to eat. I was going to go home, do some dishes, let our animals out, run around, go to the bathroom, and then go back and pick them up, right? So that's what my evening was going to be. All day long, I was very excited because I wanted to go eat a El Diablo burrito at the local Mexican restaurant. Just a spicy burrito. I was very excited to have it. And I was kind of sitting with it. You know, I wasn't terribly hungry when I left at like 5 or so. I was like, should I go and have the burrito now, go home, do some dishes, let the animals out, and then go back and pick up Isaac? Or should I go home, let the animals out, do some dishes, then go back and have the burrito, and then pick up Isaac? I could have made either work, right? And I got a very particular message that I should absolutely go and have that burrito right now. Go right now. And I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. You know, it's a little bit before dinner. I'd have a chance to sit down and eat it. And I didn't want to get it to go. I didn't want takeout. I wanted to eat it there by myself. Now, my friend Ashley, who's kind of girlfriend, fiance of the owner of the restaurant, she normally tends bar, right? So I've known her for quite some time, hadn't seen her in a while, and I was like, well, I'll just go and catch up with her, sit at the bar, have a burrito, and that's what I did. So it was a little bit past 5 o'clock, and as I pull into this restaurant, I'm like, what is waiting for me here? What is happening, right? What's going to happen? I was like, something's going to happen. So I go into the restaurant, go to the bar. There's a couple tables seated in the restaurant. Nobody's at this bar. It's a big U-shaped bar, right? So I'm the only one there. And I get up to the bar, sit down, order my seltzer water with lemon, and I was like, I don't even need a menu. I know what I want. I want a bowl of chili, and I want my El Diablo burrito. Made the order. I was sitting there kind of just shooting the breeze with Ashley. And then a man walks in. This man, he walks in, and he struck me as like a painter type, right? Not an artist like watercolor painter, but like a house painter. He had, just like some jeans on and a gray sweatshirt. He was very nondescript, middle-aged white guy, gray ponytail. That's the most I could tell you about him. He didn't have a beard, had maybe like a day or two's worth of scruff, but he had this gray ponytail. And he sits down at the bar, and I get, in the way that I get things, Santa Claus. What? Santa Claus? The guy looked nothing like Santa Claus. So I was just like, whatever. Brushed it off. Continued to have my burrito. Continued to talk to Ashley. I'm not very social, especially when it comes to strangers out in the public. So, and just like, hey, just kind of sat there enjoying my burrito. And he starts having a conversation with Ashley, and Ashley, being the bartender, goes up and asks him if he wants a menu. And the first thing he says is he doesn't want a regular menu, he wants a dessert menu, right? I thought to myself, hearing that, I was like, what a way to live, right? Somebody who's, maybe we'll have dinner, but they're going to start with dessert, right? So they order a slice of carrot cake, and it is the last slice of carrot cake in the restaurant. So when it was delivered to him, it was like regular sized dinner plate, and the whole piece of carrot cake, was about this thick. It was on the whole plate, so he can only eat half of it, and he put the other half in a to-go container. Asked Ashley for a pen, and he starts writing on this postcard that he had. There was something a little off about this guy. And Ashley, being the wonderful bartender that she is, starts to have this conversation with him about, what's going on. And he starts talking about his life, right? And he's from down south, southern part of the state, and had some sort of problems with a divorce and like losing his house and being hospitalized. And I couldn't really catch it. I wasn't really paying attention to it. He was a few seats down from me, like three or four seats down from me. Wasn't really paying attention to it. I'm just kind of like watching the TV, having my burrito. And, Ashley moves away from him and goes to like make a drink for somebody or something. And he continues the conversation, right? She clearly walks away, and he's over here, and I can still hear him talking. And I'm like, just kind of eating my burrito, going, okay, he's talking. Is he on a Bluetooth? Is he on a cell phone? So I kind of like sneak a glance at him, and he wasn't. He was talking to the TV, and he was talking about ZZ Top. I was like, what? And this is what he says. He goes, well, when I got out of the hospital, I went home, and on my front lawn, there they were, ZZ Top. And I'm like, what is going on here? He goes, yeah, ZZ Top. And he's talking to nobody. He's not talking to me. He's not talking to Ashley. He's kind of talking to the TV. And he goes, yeah, ZZ Top. And he goes, yeah, man, standing there on my lawn, straw hat, sunglasses, long beard. I'm like, what? I just have a tendency to not really pay attention to folks who might be a little mentally imbalanced, right? Just from a place of, safety, right? You never know what you could find yourself in, right, for a situation. So I wasn't particularly talkative to this fellow, especially when he started talking to himself. So he's talking about ZZ Top, and it wasn't even really dawning on me at the time. I was like, I got this Santa Claus energy from him, and now he's talking about ZZ Top. How weird is that? So I finish up, my burrito, and, he has this piece of carrot cake, and he offers me half of it. I don't take the half of it. And then he gets a Corona with no lime, right? And I finish up my burrito and I leave. And as it goes with most of these types of experiences, I really didn't know what I was in while I was in it. And then I realized afterward, I was really kicking myself in the pants because I didn't buy him his carrot cake or his Corona. Not because, this could have been a god or a spirit, just because it would have been the nice thing to do, right? So I learned a very significant lesson here. We encounter all sorts of legends and stories about how the gods of old would just show up randomly as random people. And of course, I kick myself in the pants because if this was Odin working through this man, right, I could have bought Odin's carrot cake and beer, right? Ah, but I learned a lesson there about the spirit of the holidays and the spirit of giving. And since that encounter, I've been doing some really ridiculously generous things, just randomly generous things in that spirit of giving. If I had to go through that experience to learn that lesson about Christmas, holidays, midwinter, Yule, gift giving, then so be it, right? I'm glad that I learned that lesson. And I bring this story to folks to remind them this is a spooky time of year. This is why we have so many ghost stories about Christmas and holidays and Yule. This is a spooky time of year. Be mindful of what is out there in the world right now. Be mindful. You never know who's going to cross your path. Odin, they think, scholars think that the word Odin, comes from a derivative of ecstasy, right? Being ecstatic, being mad a little bit, right? And if this man was a little mentally imbalanced and he was a wanderer, he was just wandering through, that does speak to that legend of that spirit. I do know that these spirits, gods, angels, deities, they exist and they interact with us. They interact with us in many unexpected ways, ways that we would not expect or see. So, just a story for you about this time of year and about the spirits that are floating around out there around us. Be generous to your fellow man, to the world, to each other. You never know who you could run across. So, happy Yule, Merry Christmas, Happy Midwinter. Enjoy this season. And enjoy the ghosts. Enjoy the spirits. They're out there.